Hey everybody, welcome to the Holocron today. My name is Taylor and I wanted to go over this article that I found. 25 things you probably didn't know about the making of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. And for those of you that aren't prequel fans, this video is not going to be for you. Usually these articles don't excite me at all. I've watched the making of The Phantom Menace behind the scenes, I've watched the commentary, and so when I came across this article I was like, alright, let's see all the recycled content that we've already seen before. One thing I do want to point out, this article was written by Kelly Knox. This is a great article. There was a few things that I didn't know in here. Kelly Knox is an author and an entertainment writer in the Seattle area. She loves creating original Star Wars craft projects for all ages for Star Wars. Her favorite character is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Favorite films: A New Hope. Without further ado, let's go and break this article down and see what's going on here. 25 years ago, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace graced movie theaters with an excitement level that's still talked about fondly today. But it wasn't an easy path to get there, from developing completely new film techniques and technology that seems commonplace now, to a massive storm wiping out most of the Mos Espa set in Tunisia. There's more to the story behind Episode 1 than you probably know. The making of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was also released in 1999, and features candid tales of the production, direct from the writer and director George Lucas, the cast, and the crew of one of the most anticipated films in history. In addition, Lucasfilm produced a number of behind-the-scene features for web and home video that explored the making of the movie. Here are 25 behind-the-scene facts and anecdotes straight from the people who were there. Number 1. Some of Doug Chiang's earliest concepts were inspired by the sites of Marin County, California. Newly relocated to the area outside of San Francisco to work on the Phantom Menace, Chiang found out early ideas in local landmarks. Hints of the Marin Civic Center, designed by architect Frank Lloyd Wright, can be seen in the architecture of Theed. The verdant hills of Nicasio near Skywalker Ranch became the setting for the battle between the droids and Gungan armies. Number 2. Natalie Portman's royal tone of voice was modified in post-production. When Padme Nabiri acts as Queen Amidala, she speaks in a low, solemn tone inspired by the transatlantic accents of Lauren Bacall, Katharine Hepburn, but the actress was unprepared when she heard the final voice in the finished movie.
You will not be so pleased when you hear what I have to say, Viceroy.
I was surprised when I saw the film,
Portman told Empire magazine.
because they digitally altered my voice and brought it down in register.
Number 3. Set decorator Peter Walpole and his team used medical equipment to bring the locations of Episode 1 to life. The team at the Leavesden prop department, determined to keep costs down, picked through medical supplier warehouse crammed with old equipment and haggled down the price of every piece.
15 for that. And you tell me if you don't like it.
10.
15.
12.50.
15.
The pieces were then combined in creative ways to craft the items decorating the Skywalker home.
Drop the pieces that came from Swindon from the medical supplier. And all of a sudden you got one of them.
Number 4. The waterfalls of Naboo were created with salt. Real-life footage of salt flowing off the edge was filmed, imported into a computer, and then used to digitally create the texture of rushing water. Number 5. Nick Gillard found inspiration for the sword fighting style of the Jedi at the height of their power in a few surprising places. The stunt coordinator described the fighting style seen in the iconic duel at the end of the film as a mixture of kendo and samurai, and every sword style that's ever been. And in a bit of tennis and a bit of tree chopping, everything that you could swing at.
Since they had chosen such a short-range weapon, they would have to be so good if they're up against ray guns and lasers. So they would have studied every great sword fighting style and come up with a kind of mixture of kendo and samurai and every sword style there's ever been, and a bit of tennis and a bit of tree chopping, everything that you could swing at.
Number 6. George Lucas wrote the Episode 1 script by hand with just pencil and notebook paper. And in fact, he writes all of his scripts this way.
I have beautiful, pristine yellow tablets, ready to go. Those fresh black pencils. I'm all set. All I need is an idea.
Number 7. One of the biggest influences on the making of The Phantom Menace was the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Not only did a significant number of the television series crew and production team later work on The Phantom Menace, some of the techniques they perfected while filming the series were then used on Episode 1. Rick McCallum, the producer of the prequel trilogy, called the show a testing bed to learn a new way of making films. Number 8. Jar Jar Binks was originally designed with green skin. The design team later realized that most aquatic creatures on our own planet don't sport green hues, so they changed the skin tone to orange instead.
The biggest thing was coming up with that concept drawing that George said, yeah, that's him.
Number 9. Yaddle is actually an early young Yoda design. Concept artist Ian McCaig began developing the Jedi Master's younger look as an 8-year-old version of the character. That concept eventually became another Jedi in the film, Yaddle, he revealed. Number 10. The moving mechanism inside 3PO's head is a missile gyroscope. Chief model maker Lauren Peterson had found it and let the effects team borrow it. He said in the making of featurette Discoveries from Inside, Models and Miniatures.
Where is everybody?
Number 11. The design of the heavy troop transport in the Phantom Menace, the MTT, was inspired by elephants. In the featurette Conversations Doug Chiang Looks Back, the concept artist talked about using familiar shapes to help the audience understand a design on a basic level. If you look at the front of the MTT, the tiny slits represent the elephant's eyes and his forehead, says Chiang. And the trunk? I turned it into the door, and the tusks actually become the 2 guns on the sides. Number 12. Costume colors are specific to the planets of the galaxy far, far away. Ian McCaig and costume designer Trisha Bigger worked together to create the palettes. Gray, brown, and black for Coruscant, green and gold for Naboo, and sun-bleached sandy colors for Tatooine. 13. Ewan McGregor had dialogue coaching to prepare for his role. He worked hard to capture the calming tones and inflections of Sir Alec Guinness to best play the character, which he called quite tricky.
I tried to take Ewan and turn him into Alec. They have almost identical eyes. They have the same grooves here. The mouths are in exactly the right place. They say this triangle is the most important thing and it defines your character. And on the 2 people, their characters, that triangle is exactly the same.
Number 14. Samuel L. Jackson got the role of Mace Windu in part through an appearance on a British talk show, TFI Friday, to promote a different movie.
Hi, I'm Samuel L. Jackson, the Hollywood star the show simply hasn't got time.
The casting director for The Phantom Menace, Robin Gurland, heard that Jackson made his wish to be in the new Star Wars known while chatting on the talk show. The rest is history. Number 15. Ahmed Best was discovered through his performance in the theater show Stomp. Gurland happened to catch the show and spotted Best in the cast. His energy and performance made her realize he's Jar Jar.
I think everybody remembers when they were that kid who just didn't fit in. And I know I was that weird kid who didn't fit into any group.
Number 16. Greg Proops and Scott Capiro recorded their pod racing commentary in prosthetics and makeup. The footage would later be used as reference for their digital characters Fode and Bede.
The crowds are going nuts!
Number 17. Plo Koon was named after the son of creature effects supervisor Nick Dudman. I decided to call one of the Jedi Plone Koon because my son was called that during his first year of life, he said. I wrote down Plone Koon. George came and crossed out the N and Plo Koon was born. Number 18. The 3 Wookiees in the Galactic Senate all wore the same Chewbacca costume from the Lucasfilm archive.
All of the muscle suits, and these are the first fursuits which are going on. So they're in a very rough form at the moment, no hair's being punched in.
The actor in the old suit was filmed 3 different times with slight adjustments made out to the hair. When the shots were put together, we ended up with 3 different Wookiees out of 1 suit, said Dudman. Number 19. The very first scene of The Phantom Menace that was filmed featured Darth Sidious and Darth Maul. Their balcony shot on Coruscant marked the beginning of production in 1997.
That was our first rolling of cameras on Star Wars.
Number 20. After a monstrous storm destroyed almost everything on the Mos Espa set, the Tunisian army helped rebuild it. Thanks to the fact that one set was luckily left in one piece, the landing ramp of the Naboo's Royal Starship, plus the efforts of the entire crew and local helpers, production continued without delay.
Exact same thing happened in Star Wars. There's always something.
Number 21. The Jedi and Sith went through 300 aluminum lightsaber blades while filming The Phantom Menace. Stunt coordinator Nick Gillard helped build the new lightsabers for the physically and mentally intensive duels.
This is a Ewan McGregor lightsaber. We have to go through 1 and 5. We're gonna have to get stronger ones made. They don't make lightsabers like they used to.
Number 22. Wada only has 1 full tusk, so the audience can see his mouth move accurately when he speaks. The Toydarian was originally designed with 2 large tusks on either side of his trunk-like nose, but that would have prevented his lips from fully shaping words with an M or a B. One tusk was broken off and his lopsided smile was born.
That you did, huh? The boy's good, no doubts there, huh?
Number 23. Watto was also the first CG character that the effects team went to work on. Through his design and motions, the team quickly learned how to achieve what they wanted on featured digital characters. Even just the cord on his tool belt had its own computer program written to simulate its movement properly. That same program would later be used for Jar Jar's flapping ears. Number 24. Some of the audience members at the Boonta Eve Classic Pod Race crowd are colorful cotton swabs. Sometimes practical effects work best to achieve just the right 3-dimensional look from faraway shots, and a model maker had the creative idea to use the swabs in the arena models. Number 25. Some of the cheers and jeers emanating from the audience at the pod race are a San Francisco 49ers game. Sound designer Bert recorded crowd reactions at the football game himself.
I've been building up a library of sound for the past 25 years, ever since the first film, when I roamed into the desert to tap a radio tower guy wire to get the sound which became the basis for all the laser guns.
Alright guys, that's it for the article, 25 things that you didn't know about the Phantom Menace. I'll leave a link to this article in the description so you can read it for yourself if you want. I'll also give a link to the making of the Star Wars A Phantom Menace down below too, for those of you interested in seeing it. I highly recommend it. There was a lot of stuff I learned. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Holocron. Hopefully I taught you something new. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. And may the Force be with us all.
Oh, there it is. There's my name. Another check for Daddy.